Welcome in, Tuesday edition. Blue Sky Live here with you today. Chase Parham, Neal McCready, Clark Ford Studio. We get game times today, even more game times. Get all the game times today except for some flex stuff. I think 1 o'clock is when that comes out, something like that. I'll check it, make sure I'm right about that. But pretty sure that is right today. We talk some football. Dan Hurley turning down a lot of money to not join the LA Lakers, staying at UConn.
There's a little fishiness to the Hurley Lakers.
Oh, really?
Story.
Okay.
There's a little fishiness to that.
I'll let
story.
you fill me in on that. Got that coming up. Just whatever else strikes us here over the next little bit with you every day because of the Oxford Exxon and Blue Skies across Mississippi, Highway 6 West here in Oxford, up and down I-55 throughout North Mississippi as well. Sweet Daddy locations all over the state of Mississippi. You get your ribs, pulled pork, lunch specials, side items, dessert, and more. You get your cheap fountain drinks. You can fill them up, keep your cup, fill them up even cheaper there with Blue Skies again across the state of Mississippi. And again, coming to the Clark Ford Studio.
We are. Clark Ford is in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900. Call that number. Ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. It's right to the bottom line. No hassle, no haggle. Get your quote, and the rest is up to you. Shop that quote around. You can do what I've done. What I recommend that you do, and that's hop into a Clark Ford today. 662-257-1900 is the number. Corey and the people at Clark Ford, they want to be your car guy. They want to be your truck guy. They'll prove to you what that means when you make the call and start your relationship with them. 662-257-1900. Guest join on the Campbell Clinic hotline. The Campbell Clinic is in Oxford now, 2608 South Lamar Boulevard, Suite 102, just across the street from the cottages at Hooper Hollow. The Campbell Clinic provides full-service orthopedic care, everything from sports medicine to foot and ankle surgery to spine and total joint care, pediatric orthopedics, physical therapy, and more. To book an appointment, go to campbellclinicoxford.com or call 901-759-3111. Walk-ins always welcome at the Campbell Clinic, Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m.
So, educate me. Dan Hurley, coach at UConn, back-to-back national champions there. He turns down a reported 6-year offer worth $70 million to coach the LA Lakers. You know, a lot of think pieces. We talked about it last Thursday with what it means for college sports, if he takes it, if he leaves, if he doesn't, all that stuff. But not necessarily different than a lot of other people who have turned those kind of jobs down over the years. And you've had a lot that jumped. I mean, Calipari, Patino guys that have done that. First off, and I think it's something you've always talked about is when you're bald, shaving your head, I would have gone so over on Dan Hurley only being 51 years old. And I think it's because he leaves some gray on the sides that it makes him look older than he is. Like, I was not like I thought he was 70 or anything, but when I saw 51, I kind of went, no shit,
No,
really?
He would look younger if he would just go ahead and shave the rest off.
He would. Because he's in good shape. He's thin. Like, I was like, wow, 51. Like, yeah. I had him pegged for 57, 58 at least a little bit there. Anyway,
he's Bobby's little brother.
Yeah.
And Bobby's like my age.
Yeah. So anyway, just little thought.
So
you don't think it was real?
No, I think it was real. I don't think it was as real as it was made out to be.
What do you mean?
Adrian Wojnarowski, who broke the story pretty much throughout, he wrote a book on the Hurley's dad.
I didn't know that, but okay.
There's a relationship there.
Okay. So listen when he talks.
Dan Hurley needed to press UConn a little bit. Hey, step up. Come to the table. I've won a couple of titles. Probably going to win another one. Let's go. Not just salary, but some commitment level. And I think that did it. The Lakers get to look like they went hard after the premier college coach in the game. Everybody kind of wins a little. Now when the Lakers hire someone else, they can't go, well, you didn't try to. No, they tried to hire Hurley.
So who are they going to hire?
I mean, the rumor's Redick.
So was this a ploy to make Redick more palatable because it looked funny if you just went straight to Redick?
Yeah. And it bought time. Redick is broadcasting the finals.
He needs time to pass.
He needs the games to play. They got to play at least 4. This let him play 2.
And not like he needed it, but yeah, suddenly Dan Hurley's got all the loyalty in the world in stores.
Yeah, this makes Hurley the face of college basketball now in a lot of ways, even more so than he was. It adds to his aura.
Yeah, he probably wasn't publicly as much as he should be, considering he's at a preeminent program with back-to-back national titles.
Yeah, it was Mike Krzyzewski, and then it was Jay Wright. Now it's Dan
Cal
Hurley.
always takes a lot of energy and oxygen out of the room.
Yeah.
And we're in the South, so we see it differently, I'm sure.
But nationally, this makes him the face of college basketball. And it adds to his just sort of, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, just sort of cachet, maybe is the word I'm looking for.
Okay. So when you saw it the entire time, did you think he was turning it down or at least not taking it?
I think I was fazed by the part where I was like, I don't understand why he would take this job. The Lakers' job's not a good job right now. It's just not. You're not winning in the next couple of years. Your salary cap is trash. You've traded most of your assets away. When your best player's 40, it's just not a great sign that you're about to go dominate. Don't get me wrong. It's a great franchise. It's one of the most recognizable franchises in all of sports. It's Yankees, Dodgers, Man U. I mean, it's way up there. But they're not in a position to win right now, and they're playing in a brutally difficult conference that has a handful of teams that are very well positioned to win for a long time.
It's why it's so weird. Say it is Redick. It's such the dichotomy because Redick would need to learn as an NBA head coach. Like, I mean, he has no experience. He hadn't been a head coach in anything past the youth level, and you're doing that when LeBron only has a year or two left. But at the same time, it would make sense if we're just completely retooling the organization and giving you time and trying to fix it, and you're just our guy long term. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
if I'm Redick, I just keep broadcasting. Unless you just desperately need the money.
Because when you broadcast, you're making good money. You're doing a podcast with LeBron. You're doing well. You're in any circle you'd like to be in basketball, and you never lose a game.
No, and he's really good at it.
Yeah.
I mean, there'll be other opportunities that come up. It's not like he's going to fall off the face of the planet. But we'll see.
Yeah, and USA Today would be wrong on that. It is better to be an NBA coach than a college coach, just in general.
100%.
Good God. That's
100%.
not even a...
100%.
I mean, Hurley himself was joking, going, I hope we keep winning because it keeps me from having to deal with the portal.
Yeah, I mean...
He wasn't joking. He was being real when he said that.
Hurley despises the transfer portal. Now, he uses it, but doesn't mean he likes it. He doesn't think it's the best way to build a roster. He doesn't think it's the best way to build a team.
It just is what it is.
It's just something you have to do now, but he doesn't like it at all. No, college basketball's not in a good place. It's just not. No one talks about it until March, except for 2 or 3 markets.
The Lakers really don't have to move very quickly, do they?
No.
From a basketball timeline, there's no...
I mean, assuming LeBron is staying, no, their roster's kind of set. They've got the 17th pick in the draft. They don't have a bunch of assets that they could move in some big deal. So, no, they're kind of positioned themselves to hope that LeBron has another magical season, hope that Anthony Davis stays healthy, and hope that you draft someone at 17 who can contribute to your rotation.
Game 3 tomorrow night.
Is that right?
Isn't that right?
I don't even know.
You're not?
I'm not particularly dialed into sports right now. I've got to fix that. But in many ways, that's good.
It's not a bad thing. There's nothing going on that's consequential.
And so
now.
I know what rolls around about August the 1st. And so I'm kind of proud of myself that I've allowed myself mentally to check out a little bit. I watched 10 minutes of the NHL Stanley Cup last night. And then I forgot that it was on. I went to do something else, and when I came back, it was 4-1, and I was like, "Well, I'm not watching that."
I find myself almost frustrated because I really wanted to be into the Stanley Cup Finals, but for no reason at all, I want Edmonton to win, and they're getting beat 2-0 in the series, and I have no interest because of that. If Edmonton was up 2-0, I think I would be interested.
I'm the same way,
and I mean,
I have nothing against the Florida Panthers.
I think I just want McDavid to get a title.
I think that's it. I'm just cheering for the one guy that I know, but I listen to hockey people, and they all say the Panthers are just a rolling ball of butcher knives. I'm like, okay. And then they win, and you're like, well, okay, must obviously be.
Who plays for the Panthers? Is that Kachuk? Is that those guys? Is that right?
I can't remember.
Okay.
I literally sat outside, and it was on, and I think Caroline called or something, and I took a phone call and never went back, and then saw the. I was not engaged.
Yeah, at 4-1, you go, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm good. All right,
Yeah.
moving on. Sweet. It's all good. Yeah, Matthew Kachuk. That's what I thought for the Panthers. See,
His dad was Keith Kachuk.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or is Keith Kachuk.
Yeah. It did not change just because he retired from the
he didn't lose his identity.
The game
as
of
a
basketball at that point. Yes, that is 100% correct.
So what are we guessing on times? So we're waiting on all times except the
all
first
SEC
three
game times.
The first three in the state game, right? State game is Friday, Black Friday at 2:30.
Yeah, that's correct. And then 6, 5, no, 3, 6, 3:15, 2:30 on the first 3 games of the season.
Oh, is Wake a day game?
No, it's at 5:30.
Okay, you said 2:30.
Oh yeah, sorry, 5:30.
Okay.
Yeah, 6, 3:15, 5:30 Central Times.
Okay, I can live with that. That's all satisfactory.
Yeah, see, Chuck with the SEC, he said television windows, again, i.e. early 12 to 1, afternoon, blah, 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 night 6 to 8, will be announced for all remaining SEC-controlled games on Tuesday, June 11th, with select games tagged as flex games between the afternoon and the night windows. So you won't know exact times, my opinion, for Ole Miss Oklahoma or Ole Miss Georgia.
Agreed.
Or LSU, because they're probably going to do that. They could be 3 or 7. But I do think there's a good chance you're going to hear that Ole Miss, South Carolina is at 11 or whatever. And because I don't even think it's all games in those windows. I think it's just some games in those windows that can be flexed.
I'm guessing Ole Miss Kentucky's an early game. I would guess Ole Miss at South Carolina is a later game or an mid-afternoon game. I'd love to know how they prioritize.
I would love. We'll kind of know,
I guess.
Well, but see, I don't know. I guess I'm trying to think through it because you need a good game at 11. So you sacrifice a game you just know is going to be at 11. You're not going to have the ability to move around and just go, hey, that's when that's going to happen. I do think in some ways we will have a better answer on what that system looks like and where they slot and how they do it. Because there's a chance that what I want to know, and we won't know this until the season plays out, do they take games that are really good and are they flexing them from 7:30 to 3:30 or 3:30 to 7:30? That's what I'm actually more curious about is what direction they flex to try to create matchups in certain windows. Because, the NFL flexes the 3 o'clock to a 7 o'clock.
Right, to the Sunday night.
Yeah, or 12 to 3. They get it in a lone window.
Right.
But they're the only game in town. College football has to deal with the Big Ten and their schedule and everything else. So you're not just manipulating it on your own behalf in a lot of ways.
Yeah, the NFL is less time-based than it is standalone-based. You don't really get that in the college game. I'm interested to see how hard the SEC decides to go head-to-head with the primetime Big Ten game.
Well, you got to put something there that's good.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to give up the 6 to 8 o'clock time slot.
No, it's do you go all in or do you watch them and see whether there's
they have the 2:30
works?
CBS game too.
I know.
So, you're going to get.
Yeah. No, they have more inventory.
No, it's just more teams.
More teams.
So, but off the top of my head, so the one time we don't have left on non-con, we'll get that today, I guess, is Georgia Southern.
Sure.
Is that happening today too? That's not an SEC game.
I don't know.
I don't either. Okay, it doesn't matter. Kentucky, I'm going to guess 11 o'clock.
That's my guess too.
I'm going to guess South Carolina early too.
Okay. I can't argue that.
It's an because here's what I'm thinking. I could be wrong, and again, most people are not going to hear this until after the damn time comes out. But my thought is, if I were doing the producing, why I like that game at 11 o'clock is that I've got an Ole Miss team that's still probably unbeaten, and South Carolina's going to have a good environment, blah, 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 but they're going to have some losses. They're not great. It gives me a name and a ranking at 11, but it doesn't make me sacrifice a game, probably. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I need to pull up.
I'm just trying to catch you on the early part of it.
Where would I go to get the whole SEC football schedule? Because the SEC sports site sucks.
There's that grid thing you can get. You know what I mean? And I'll look for it in a second.
I've not seen it.
I'll look for it in a second.
SEC football schedule 2024. All right, so I got week.
Yeah, schedule grid. I found it.
Here we go. All right, so we're going to week 4, correct?
The week that Ole Miss plays Kentucky. Yep.
Yep.
Alabama, Georgia is that week, by the way.
Okay, well, there's your primetime game.
You think that's prime time? Arkansas A&M. Auburn, Oklahoma.
That's pretty good.
Texas, Mississippi State.
That's Oklahoma's first SEC game.
Is it? Okay. Those are your games. There's a lot of buys that week. 4 teams are on bye that week.
Okay. Yeah, you get UCLA at LSU. I can't find it. It doesn't matter.
What's wrong?
I can't find the grid. You'll have to send it to me.
Okay. Yeah, Alabama, Georgia, A&M, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Auburn, Ole Miss, Kentucky, and Texas, Mississippi State. Those are the 5 games on September the 28th.
So Texas's first SEC game too?
Yes.
That's their first SEC game?
That is correct.
Both of those are going to be highly publicized. Yeah, Ole Miss.
No, Oklahoma plays Tennessee the week before.
Oh, my God. Okay. All right. And Texas plays the week before also.
But not an SEC game.
Okay.
This is Texas's first SEC weekend.
Okay, that's going to get
at home against Mississippi State.
Okay, that's going to be a prime. That's going to be very publicized.
Okay.
If I'm the league, I want to publicize.
Ole Miss,
that.
Kentucky just makes sense for 11. Like nothing else really makes sense there.
Agreed.
The next week, Vanderbilt, Alabama. This is the week Ole Miss plays South Carolina.
Okay.
Vanderbilt, Alabama, Tennessee, Arkansas, Georgia, Auburn, 2:30.
Georgia, Auburn's 2:30.
Go ahead and tell you now. South Carolina, Ole Miss, A&M, Missouri.
That's a good game.
It's a good game. That's a 6:30 game for me. If I were doing it, that's a 6:30 game.
So far.
Arkansas, Tennessee. That's it. And Arkansas, Tennessee.
Yeah, I think you're 11 o'clock.
It's a good chance for 11 there, too. And then the week that Ole Miss plays LSU, you're not putting that game at 11 o'clock. So it's going to be flexed into that 3 to 7, give you some flexibility.
Agreed.
Your other games that week, Georgia, Mississippi State, Texas, Oklahoma is that week.
This is the week that – and Texas, Oklahoma's already set.
It's
that's
2:30.
a 2:30 game.
So Ole Miss is a night game. Ole Miss LSU will be a night game down there. It's between that 6 to 8 window.
Yeah.
I mean, go ahead.
6 to 7 window. They won't start
5
after
to 7.
7. Yeah.
5 to 7.
Yeah.
Yeah. 5 to 7 for Ole Miss and LSU because you're not going head to head against Oklahoma and Texas with your other best game of the day.
No.
And you're not putting it at 11 o'clock.
No.
In Baton Rouge.
What are the other games that day?
Other games that day are South Carolina, Alabama.
Okay.
Tennessee and Florida. Perfect 11 o'clock game.
It is.
It's a perfect 11 o'clock game.
Because it still has cachet, but it's a sucky game.
Mississippi State and Georgia.
Okay.
Vanderbilt and Kentucky. Go shoot that off into the sun somewhere and let them
Just
have it.
let it play at 3 o'clock and be done.
Missouri plays UMass. That's Kentucky. Yeah, that's it. That's all. Those are the games that day.
And then Ole Miss plays Oklahoma the next week?
No, Ole Miss plays. They have a bye week after that.
Oh, that's right. That's right. And then Oklahoma.
Yes. The day that they play Oklahoma, Alabama plays Missouri.
That's a good game.
It's a good game. In Tuscaloosa. Arkansas, Mississippi State. Auburn, Kentucky. Hello, 11 o'clock. LSU, Texas A&M is that day.
Oh, it's pretty big. Yeah.
Ole Miss, Oklahoma is that day. And Vanderbilt, Texas, if I didn't already say that, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, those are the games.
So Ole Miss, Oklahoma will get flexibled.
Flexibled, yes. That's true. And then we'll take this one and come back and we'll finish it after a break. Ole Miss, Arkansas, November 2nd. Vanderbilt, Auburn is that day. Georgia, Florida is that day.
Okay.
2:30.
Yeah, they'll put it in the afternoon.
Tennessee, Kentucky is that day.
Okay.
Texas A&M, South Carolina that day. And Auburn, Vanderbilt, bad day.
That's a dud day.
It's a bad day. It's a really bad week late in the season.
Wow.
Come on, SEC. Like, give us something.
Give me those again, because I'm trying to find one that I could even think about putting at night.
Ole Miss, Arkansas. I mean, if Ole Miss is unbeaten, you do it with them just because it's a name and it is at least.
Unless Arkansas is as bad as everybody thinks they're going to be.
Vanderbilt, Auburn.
No.
Georgia, Florida.
That's afternoon.
Because you can't put it at night down there.
No, they've promised.
Yeah. Tennessee, Kentucky.
You could sell that.
It's fine.
It's fine.
You just take the L for the day and move on.
I mean, Kentucky's going to be decent. Tennessee's going to be
might
good.
Be really good.
Yeah. And what was the other one?
UMass State, Maine, Oklahoma, and Texas A&M, South Carolina. Blah.
Yeah, I do the Tennessee-Kentucky game at night.
That's bad.
But it's of my choices, it's the best one.
Yeah, that's what I would do too. So, all right, come back. We'll finish the schedule stuff in a second. If we do that, I'll tell you about G&M Pharmacy. 662-236-2222. They deliver locally in the Oxford area, and they offer MedSync. If your prescription's the same day each month, take care of you. One trip at the pharmacy, one delivery. You have everything you need when you need it with G&M. So whether you're in Holly Springs, it's on the square there. Again, on South Lamar in Oxford. That is 662-236-2222.
Are you retiring soon? How long should you wait to take Social Security? What accounts should you pull from first? These are just some of the questions that can only be answered with a personalized retirement income plan. Andrew Sego Wealth Management, specializes in helping folks just like you come up with their retirement game plan. Whether you meet at his office in Collierville, or prefer Zoom from anywhere, schedule a free discovery meeting. See what they can do for you. It's rebelsretire.com. Brought to you by Grenada Home Center. They've got paint by Benjamin Moore, Pittsburgh Paints, Farrell Calhoun, flooring of any and all types, stone countertops, whether you're looking for granite, quartz, or anything else. Window treatments from plantation shutters to whatever else suits your fancy. It's Grenada Home Center, 1301 Sunset Drive, Suite H in Grenada, Mississippi. Give them a call at 662-226-3127. Mark your calendars. Actually, it's this week. You don't have to mark them anymore. It's this week. You can sign up for Oxford Park Commission Youth Flag Football, baseball, softball, volleyball, and soccer. Your children can play all sports thanks to their new format that will allow their sports to play concurrently with various sports playing on different nights of the week. Just create an OPC website account at oxfordparkcommission.com or contact OPC Community Relations Director John Davis at johndavis@oxfordparkcommission.com for additional information. We're brought to you by Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating. Different names, same great products and services. If you live in Oxford, Tupelo, or the surrounding area, call Comer, 662-801-1777. If you live in Hernando, Memphis, or the surrounding area, call Southern, 662-429-4429. If you're getting ready for the football season, some of the games, night games, day games, whatever the case may be, you want your gear, and the best place to get it is the College Corner. 2 locations in the Jackson area, one in Oxford, just off of Sisk Avenue in the Oxford Commons. You can also go online, collegecornerstore.com. And when you work with Argent Wealth's 401k advisory services, you gain a valuable advisory services team and time-saving resource that will help you develop and maintain a solid strategy for your retirement plan. They're committed to providing you with the personalized attention and involvement that you want and need. Their goal is to help you manage your 401k plan properly and ultimately improve your employees' retirement readiness. It's myargentwealth.com.
Yeah, so the next week after that, Ole Miss faces the Georgia Bulldogs, and it's a big week. You look at this one, Alabama LSU is that weekend in Baton Rouge. Texas Florida is that week in Austin. Ole Miss and Georgia that week in Oxford. Tennessee, Mississippi State in Knoxville. Oklahoma and Missouri in Columbia, Missouri.
Potentially a big game
that week. And New Mexico State, Texas A&M. They took the week off.
My guess
Big
is
games.
my guess is Alabama LSU is your prime time, and Ole Miss Georgia is your prime time mid-afternoon game.
Your 2:30 game.
That's my stab in the dark.
I think that's probably right.
And I'd put Missouri,
Oklahoma
at 11 a.m.
I
coming
would
right
too.
out of the big show, and might be able to get people to stay all day long.
You might just triple header that bad boy and go
So it would
game.
be a thought.
Yeah. That's an interesting schedule
The
situation.
Alabama LSU rivalry resonates nationally. They
It
get
does.
big numbers every single year.
Ole Miss is off on November 16th. But the games that weekend, Alabama Mercer, Arkansas, Texas. That's a good 11 o'clock game. Let them do a whole Southwest Conference thing. Let them
Where's
have
that game?
It's in Fayetteville.
Okay.
UL Monroe and Auburn.
It's a big one.
It is. LSU, Florida. Tennessee, Georgia.
Nice. There's your big one.
It's a big game. South Carolina, Missouri. That's it.
It's a dog week.
A lot of.
Why do they do that?
Well, we have more dog weeks because we have 2 byes this year.
Yeah.
So there's more just teams not playing. We have an extra week of football.
But it's good for the players.
Yes.
I'm glad they need 2 weeks off.
Yeah, we have worse football on some Saturdays, but we have an extra week of football.
Right.
So
It's fine. Then the next week is the rivalry week. No. The next week,
still one more week.
Ole Miss goes to Florida the next week.
That is correct. Alabama and Oklahoma is that week.
Big.
Yeah, for one of the few times Alabama didn't get the favor the week before the Iron Bowl, like got Oklahoma.
Yeah.
You better get ready there.
Alabama, Oklahoma will be a big national
Norman.
draw. It'd be huge.
La Tech, Arkansas, Texas A&M, Auburn.
Okay.
Is that week.
It's a big game.
Ole Miss, Florida is that week.
Mm-hmm.
UMass and Georgia is that week. Good luck, Minutemen.
Yeah.
I've had it. Texas, Kentucky is that week. Vanderbilt, LSU that week. And Missouri, Mississippi State that week.
Okay.
Kentucky, Texas, if I didn't already say that, I don't know. Wofford, South Carolina. UTEP, Tennessee.
So Ole Miss, Florida has a chance to be a night game.
It does.
That's your marathon day, right?
That is. Well, the next day.
Next day.
The Sunday. Yeah. So hopefully not a night game. I would prefer an afternoon game to that. That would be nice.
You might be so.
I didn't really think about that. That game time today is sort of important. So yeah, I didn't really think about that.
You'll be all right. You'll have so much adrenaline.
Yeah, it's fine.
That you'll be fine. I didn't sleep the night before my first one.
Yeah, and I think I told you I picked Philadelphia because of an ease to get to the race. I had considered, because I only plan to run one. I'm not trying to do a bunch of marathons. I had broken it down to a finalist of New York, Philadelphia, and Chicago or DC were kind of the 4 that I was going back for. And I was really undecided on which one to do. And number 1, I get to essentially finish at the Rocky statue. And we know our Rocky fandom. So I went, that's kind of neat.
Sure.
Last mile, you start doing the gonna fly now in your head. And you're probably all right a little bit. But then 2, I had talked to Mark Etheridge from D1 Baseball, who had run New York. And he said, I really don't recommend it for your first one because the logistics are so bad.
You have to get up so early to get all the way out to Staten Island.
He said, that's the problem. He goes, you're staying in Manhattan because you want to be close to where you're finishing in Central Park. He goes, but you are taking an Uber out of your hotel to wherever the ferry goes. Then you're having to take the ferry across, and then you're getting on a bus and going however far. And because it's 55,000 people, literally, you're waiting 2.5 hours to run after you get out there. And he's like, and
it might be cold. And
he's like, with your first one where you're nervous and there's adrenaline and you just are uneasy, he's like, I don't recommend that. Whereas Philadelphia, I can literally stay in a hotel that's 100 yards from Venmo. I can stay 100 yards from the start line. Walk out of the hotel, get in line, and go.
Yeah.
It's like that.
That's the way to go.
Make this as easy as humanly possible at this point. So yeah, those were the reasonings behind that. But yes, I didn't think about that. November 22nd does somewhat matter from that standpoint. So yeah, I didn't think about that. We are going to Philadelphia. One of our favorite subscribers could be hang out, get some cheesesteak. Show you whether you want a whiz or no whiz for the day. What?
No.
And then, yes, rivalry weekend, Auburn, Alabama, Missouri, and Arkansas, Florida State, Florida, Georgia Tech, Georgia, Louisville, Kentucky, Oklahoma, LSU is a final weekend game, if anybody was unaware of that. Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Clemson, South Carolina, and Vanderbilt, Tennessee, and then Texas, Texas A&M. A lot of games, a lot of stuff. All the stuff.
Sure.
A&M and Texas getting back at it. I had somebody tell me this morning they still think Texas likely fires David Pierce and Schlossnagle is the number one candidate there for that gig.
Well, that'd be news.
Give me all the message boards. Give me all the message boards.
So let me get this right. Jim Schlossnagle takes A&M back to the College World Series, then leaves to go to Texas just in time for Texas to join the SEC. Like literally days before Texas joins the SEC. Yes, sign me up. Where do I? You want me to do that in blood, sir?
I mean, I guess part of me is just surprised Schlossnagle would take it, but everybody in baseball I talk to goes, no, they takes it. There's no. I'm not quite there yet because, frankly, baseball coaches don't move much. It's not their gear.
What does he get at Texas that he doesn't get at A&M?
That's my point. Like,
as much as I want it to happen.
Is Texas a better job? Sure.
Why?
They've got a lot of money. Like,
A&M doesn't have money?
No.
I mean, I'm not fighting. I'm just asking.
They're very similar.
They're winning. He's going to the College World Series every freaking year. He gets great players. They get in the portal. They get who they want.
I'm not even doing a podcast bit. Some people think that he would leave just because he finds A&M freaking weird.
Okay. No, that's good. I mean,
because he told you he keeps getting frustrated. Like he keeps giving. I was making fun of it on Twitter the other day, but like multiple times he keeps getting really frustrated by the lack of cheerleaders at football games and like some of those things. Like he's pissed off boosters because he brought the female cheerleaders to baseball games and going, well, if I'm going to do it at football, we'll do it here.
Oh, I didn't know this.
Yeah, he's using like rally girls or what. I don't know the terms, but yeah, whatever. And he made multiple comments. I forget the comment he made. I have to go back and find it. But he made some comment like, well, if he'd asked the boosters, we basically were, killing Rivalry or something. Like he made like that they wanted to bring. That wasn't what he said. I'm just saying.
You shouldn't even hint at that. I mean.
That will get you run out of College Station now.
Hey.
Sorry. But yes, he has publicly made fun of boosters and some of the weird traditions at A&M.
That place, that might be.
Means you got good job security too, though. If nobody cares and you can go on with that.
Well, here's the thing about A&M, because from a resource standpoint, they're just like tip top.
Oh, sure.
But they get in their own way. Big time. Like, you could stop some of that cringy stuff, and they might just take off. I mean, Texas puts the little, what do they call it, chaps or whatever on the cheerleaders and hey, we're steering into this, right?
Yeah, sure.
Look, pretty girls. Not A&M. No, sir. North Korean band and weirdness.
Well, I mean, Schloss is one of the few people that hasn't just gone, hey, it's the best thing in the world. Nope. Because like Jimbo, you could see his cult bubble every day, and he went, the money.
Oh, yeah.
The money.
Yeah.
The money.
$75 million. $75 million.
Because you could see in his eyes, he went, oh, my God, in hell.
Well, if you know Jimbo, you know how cringe it was.
He's going, oh, but then he goes, money.
If you know Jimbo Fisher, the person at all, you know how cringe that was.
But I feel like Schlossnagle's the guy that gets up there for the shoulders with the Aggie war hymn, and he's like, oh, my God.
It's like
my God.
Someone last year tried to do the Kiffin thing, and I was like, nope.
Oh.
Nope. There's a better chance he'd go to ULM. Nope.
You think all that stuff would completely make him.
Can you imagine? Seriously, can you? I mean, just try in your head to picture Lane Kiffin being introduced at Texas A&M.
And he has to get up there and do the Aggie war hymn.
He's not going to do it. He wouldn't do it.
He and Trev Alberts put their arms around each other and sway.
Like, I mean, if you told me Texas, I'm like, yeah, I see that completely. 100%.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
All day.
All he's got to do is hook him?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. But no, he's not doing all that. And the band and the guy cheer, whatever they call them, and no chance. No chance. Like zero.
Make sure Juice never nips at Rivalry.
I didn't even think about that part, but yeah, just no. No.
Look, if Schlossnagle even lets it come out that he's considering it in any way, we know what he feels about Texas A&M. Because yes, job-wise, A&M's a great job. Great job.
Sure, obviously.
They have the most NIL in baseball in the country.
I mean, look at their roster.
Number one.
Look at their roster.
They pay baseball a shit ton of money.
They have great facilities. The people show up. It's all there. You cannot debate that is a great job.
No, it's a great job.
But
they don't lose players because of money.
No.
Ever.
Mm-mm.
Tennessee lost players because of money this past weekend.
On a weekend where they clinched a spot in Omaha.
Yeah.
With massive crowds.
Yeah.
Phenomenal atmosphere.
Yeah, I was told this morning that was one of the reasons Vitello was talking and some of the things he was saying about, hey, if you're just wanting handouts or whatever, was that he was stinging somewhat coming off a recruiting loss or 4.
I get it. I will say what I said to you before pre-show. When you make something all about money, it does become all about money.
Yeah.
Kyle says, if Rivals wanted y'all to switch to cover A&M, how much money would it take?
Well, you would make a lot of money because you covered A&M.
I mean, I'd make a ton of money.
Yeah. Texags is printing money.
Just massive.
Now
if I had to do all the cringe stuff.
That's the issue is that I think A&M is demanding that your people not just cover but be all in.
And I couldn't do it anywhere, so I wouldn't be able to do it there either. And that's your answer. It's probably not the sexy answer you wanted, but yeah.
Whew.
I mean, I would have a better opportunity covering them for like in the old days for like the Houston Chronicle or something.
Yeah, sure.
You know, where you're not affiliated.
Yeah. Suzanne Halliburton wasn't having to do the.
No, she never had
him back in the day.
Nor would she have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Random thought, I guess because of Vitello striking me. Did you see the stat yesterday? I said it's 2021 home games. Tennessee in their 4 major sports, football, men's basketball, baseball, women's basketball, and softball, 5 major sports.
Okay.
Their home winning percentage in those 5 sports combined, 84%.
Wow.
Like, Danny White does kind of the everything school on Twitter and all this stuff. They've done one hell of a job at being good at everything. They really have. They've done a phenomenal job in their athletics department.
They're really good. I mean, kind of everything.
Yeah. Like, I look up and kind of go, damn, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of striking what they have done because of the stats. Women's basketball was their lowest percentage because they've fallen off, obviously, after the Pat Summitt days.
No, I mean, that's why you've talked to people around college football, and they'll tell you Tennessee's don't sleep on Tennessee long term. Like, if you're buying stock in something for 10 years, that's a really good stock.
They have gotten together and figured it out and made it work again in a way that they had the resources to do it in a way, but like, we keep doing the, hey, you're not always good, blah, 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 in a way that like Nebraska simply is not capable of.
Right.
It took Tennessee a while and they made a bunch of bad hires, but you're always one hire away. And I think that's where almost every SEC school is at this point. I think every SEC school outside of maybe State, Kentucky to an extent, South Carolina to an extent, Missouri is one hire away. And Missouri's maximizing. I'm not necessarily trying to even put them in the pile. And they've done it. They've said, okay, I mean, they've done their own version of what Ole Miss has done in some different ways. They maybe haven't had some at the top end, some of the whatever, but at the same time, they've gone, okay, how do we compete? What do we need to look like? How do we dictate the legislature?
Mm-hmm.
They were the first ones to do that. Missouri sort of had their own plan in the same way that Ole Miss did. It just doesn't look exactly the same. It fits their market better.
Yeah, I catch myself pushing back a little bit. I mean, say what you want, I don't care about any of it, but the whole Drinkwitz is whatever. But Drinkwitz has done a really good job.
It wouldn't be as sexy, but he would have won had he been the choice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lane was the better hire for Ole Miss.
Sure. 100%.
But Drinkwitz was not bad. Would not have been a bad hire at all.
No, he's done it. He probably would have done it at Ole Miss what he's done at Missouri.
It would have been a B+ or an A- at least.
Agreed. I think the guy's really good. Knows what he's doing.
Mark's saying with Tennessee has the most money besides the Texas schools. Maybe.
I don't know.
It may be. I mean, I
couldn't argue that. Sure.
Yeah.
They obviously have a lot of money.
Georgia.
Yeah, Georgia's got a lot.
I do think Texas and A&M are 1-2.
Yeah, absolutely. Oklahoma's got a lot.
Yeah, I mean, Tennessee hired Dooley, Butch, and Pruitt. That was their problem.
Yeah.
And they got bogged down by the end of the Fulmer era. In whatever way that happened or didn't happen.
Heupel's really good. He's really good. League's got a bunch of really good coaches. It just shows you at any of the other programs. I mean, you make the right hire, and you can take off.
The three guys that have been surfaced to that Ole Miss job were all really successful coaches who have shown they had a good list. I mean, there was pressure from a segment of the populace that wanted Billy Napier. Billy didn't want the job, and Ole Miss didn't really want to hire Billy. But the three people that the administration pursued were Mike Norvell, Lane Kiffin, and Eli Drinkwitz.
Mm-hmm.
And
worked out.
They've all three been very successful at their jobs.
All really good coaches.
I mean, Mike Norvell has done a fabulous job at Florida State.
Absolutely. He's very good. Did a fabulous job at Memphis.
Mm-hmm.
So probably a pretty good coach.
They haven't hired an AD yet, have they? Memphis?
I don't think so.
I think interviews start next week, maybe. I think I saw that somewhere along the path. So, yeah, I think it's possible Missouri regresses a little, but I don't say that because of Drinkwitz or anything else. It's not me doing the hate Missouri thing. It's just simply they won so many close games last year.
Sure.
And you just get bit.
Law of averages, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was talking to somebody this morning, and they were like, hey, what's the Ole Miss expectation? And I'm like, anything less than 10-2 is a failure. And they're like, oh, my God. I was like, I'm talking to a coach. And he's like,
reality.
The margins. I'm like, I know.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, well, part of the Mizzou thing in my mind is that they went toe-to-toe with Georgia down there. Lined up and had a slugfest.
Yeah, they were good up front.
I mean, Ole Miss got mauled.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. I mean, they think they fixed it. I mean, not to give away if you told me to write a season preview, I would lead with that. I would lead with the line of scrimmage in Athens and then say they spent the offseason. They felt like they fixed it. We'll find out. Because if they did, they're going to be a playoff team. And if they didn't, they're not.
It's that simple.
It really is. That's why people do all the angst stuff, and I get it. But you're either going to be better at the line of scrimmage or you're not. And if you're significantly better, you'll be a playoff team. And if you're not, you probably won't.
Mark's right. I mean, obviously Ole Miss people wouldn't have wanted this, but I would have liked to have seen Kiffin just hang at Tennessee to see what would have happened, because I think he would have won really big.
Oh, he would have built a power.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't mean like I was rooting for it, but just if you give me one of those kind of unanswered questions, I go, I think he would have really won.
He's all but said that's his big regret.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to that. He
took the job.
He took the job that he allowed himself to romanticize about, which was SC. Mm-hmm. He was there during the glory years, working for his mentor.
Yeah.
At a time when SC was sexy as hell.
The epicenter of college football.
Absolutely. And they dominated the sport. They won, 30-something games in a row. Won titles, played for titles, played in historically big games, all of that stuff. It was California. Lane's a California kind of guy.
Yeah.
All of that stuff. And he got suckered into that in a lot of ways. And instead, had he stayed at Tennessee, he was going to shake it up.
They were recruiting well. Things were moving.
Really well.
Yeah. Ole Miss got them that year when they were still building. Because, I mean, Ole Miss beat them up because Dexter had that big game in 2009 when it was 80-0 and Lane over there and the whole deal.
Yeah.
And that was
But
the infancy.
That was some fool's gold.
It's a lot like Ole Miss could have gotten Saban in year 1 too. But
yeah,
it was moving the other direction quickly
sure.
at that.
No, I mean, he was gonna do big things there. And I think he'd tell you that. I mean, he basically has said that as one of his regrets.
Time capsule wise, the video of all the media waiting for him to come in Knoxville that night is one of the better like time capsule moment things you can watch. You can find it, and it's media people that you and I would recognize, but just like hanging out in the room and like this palpable feeling of just like fire all across the room and the campus, and like it was edgy as hell. Media starts kind of yelling at him when he walks in, the local media. Like it,
yeah.
Lane was kind of deer in headlights, frankly. Just wanted out of there. He looked so uncomfortable that he just wanted it over.
Because by that point, he'd taken it.
Yeah. He was just saying, thank
done,
you, I'm sorry, whatever. Chris Lowe's like running after him down the hall.
Was trying to do it the right way.
Trying.
And the right way is really hard to do.
The right way is impossible in that moment. Because Lane, he comes like, he goes, look, I've loved it here. It was just the one job. I can't say no.
And that was the truth.
Yeah.
And then years later, he's like, I wish I had not done it.
Yeah.
I wish I had just stayed.
Mm-hmm.
And would he still be the coach at Tennessee now?
Yeah, probably not.
People do that stuff. And I'm like, how can the world can you?
Because I think if he just wins there and here's the truth, though. Lane had to grow. Lane is 10 times the coach today at Ole Miss than the day he took the job at Ole Miss.
100%.
So there was a certain thing that just had to happen. I mean, Lane might have torpedoed it in some other way. Sure. I don't mean scandal, but you know what I mean? Just
stuff.
Simply not being ready for that yet.
Sure.
Because like Lane Kiffin was not ready for the Raiders job. He was thrown in there as a figurehead.
Well,
he had a name.
And then Al Davis effed him.
Yes. Which he will talk about.
Jamarcus.
Yes.
I mean, they might be totally different if they go out and get a free agent quarterback. And I mean, it's the whole Nick Saban what if. If the Dolphins sign Drew Brees, the NFL has a completely different look to it, and the Alabama dynasty never happens.
Houston Nutt, 2-time SEC West champion.
Probably. The Saints are probably in San Antonio today.
Yeah, it's true. It's my favorite one.
It's really that simple. The Saints end up with like Dante Culpepper or something. They lose. It goes to hell, and they leave. They were looking for an They might be the Los Angeles Saints.
Oh.
They were looking for an exit ramp.
Mm-hmm.
And Drew Brees fell into their lap.
And some team doctor in Miami, and here we go.
And a team doctor in Miami flagged it. And the Saints didn't. The Saints said, no, I think it's okay.
We're going to gamble that it's okay.
They did. And it worked. They won a Super Bowl. The franchise has never been healthier.
Mm-hmm.
Sean Payton
got a lot of credit card debt, but
in terms of in the city,
it's
beloved
and heightened it inside the NFL as much as it can. The Saints became a top 10 organization,
100%.
Franchise draw,
of course,
that is tough for small market teams that aren't the Packers,
of course. And none of that happens if Drew Brees signs with Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Nick Saban's probably he's retired by now, but he would have had a long run in Miami.
Which would have impacted the Patriots.
Yeah.
Brady and
maybe
Bill
we don't,
might not have
we don't look at Tom Brady the same way. I mean, you could. It's the best part of that is when people will fight you on this, and I'm like, well, you don't know. I mean, you might be right, you might be wrong. We'll never know. It didn't happen. That's why those conversations are fun to have. Because you can't go, I'm right. Well, you might be. We'll never know.
No.
Literally. There's never going to be a test. You're never going to get a grade. It's not going to happen.
Because your question on all that is, does Saban adapt to the NFL game? Does he realize, hey, I can't do this crap I was doing in college? Because he kind of tried there in year one.
If he had an elite quarterback, yeah. Probably.
Let's work through it.
He didn't have a quarterback. And in that league, if you don't have a quarterback, everything is tumultuous.
Yeah.
If you have a quarterback, you can settle in.
Yeah.
Look at Belichick.
Yeah.
When he had Tom Brady,
He made everything else.
everything worked.
Yeah.
Suddenly he didn't have Tom Brady, and now they're fighting for 500.
And he can't get a gig.
It's a quarterback league.
Yeah.
Sean Payton won big in New Orleans with Drew Brees.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't won big yet in Denver because he didn't have a Drew Brees type quarterback. Now, if you give him a Drew Brees type quarterback, sky's the limit. We've seen what happens.
Yeah. All right. Prime Shrimp, primeshrimp.com. A lot of different flavors for you. They've got their soy ginger, the most recent offering that they have available. They've got their best sellers, the Signature, the Louisiana style, New Orleans style barbecue. They've got the Louisiana shrimp bowl. If you want a little spicier option, it's great protein snacks during the day. Throw it on salads, make something out of it quickly in that way. It's great for dinners. Got kids, activities, a lot of stuff going on. Let Prime Shrimp help you, and we're going to help you in the process. We're going to give you 25% off. Use code RG at checkout with Prime Shrimp. Again, 25% off primeshrimp.com.
Brought to you by John Edwards, Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis, part of Virtuoso. It's a worldwide network of travel partners that allows John to supply his clients with added values, unique benefits, simply not available to other travelers. So get in touch with John, give him some parameters, give him a budget. He's going to give you options that will help make a special trip one that creates a lifetime of unique memories. 901-494-3387 or J. Edwards at regencytravel.net. Oxford's newest Greek restaurant on the square, Opa, is the perfect place to plan your festive party event, your company dinner. Maybe you're even thinking ahead to your Christmas party. Fabulous food, great craft libations as well. They can accommodate up to 200 guests for catering or booking information. Contact Jeannie, 601-421-7147. We're also brought to you by Service Specialist Staffing and Recruiting Agency. If your company is looking to hire quality, hard-to-find talent, Service Specialists can help. Keep in mind that payment of service is solely contingent on if your company decides to hire a candidate that they send, so you've got nothing to lose. Give Will, Sydney, or Kelsey a call, 601-573-9242, or check out their new and improved website, servicespecialistltd.com. Get the beautiful and healthy smile you deserve at Corinth Dental. Dr. Bubba McQueen, Dr. Jenny Beth Hendrick are devoted to restoring and enhancing the natural beauty of your smile using, from routine checkups to advanced treatment, including implants and Invisalign. Corinth Dental is here to help you achieve your smile goals. Schedule your appointment today. Take the first step toward a better version of yourself. It's corinthdental.com. Are you a displaced corporate executive? Are you wanting to put your career in your own hands? Are you an experienced entrepreneur looking to diversify? Andy Ludicky can help. He owns multiple franchises and businesses. He uses his expertise to help others find their American dream through a very thorough and free consultation process. So call Andy. Put your life and your career in your own hands. It's 100% free. You've got nothing to lose. Find your perfect franchise at myperfectfranchise.net. Andy at myperfectfranchise.net, or you can call Andy on his cell, 404-973-9901.
Speaking of quarterbacks, ESPN was talking about the draft for next season, and obviously it's probably not this class that just happened. I think there were 6 quarterbacks that went in the top 12 picks here in the last couple months in the draft for 2024. But Jackson Dart included in the top group when they are ranking them for next season. They have top names to know: Carson Beck at Georgia, Shadir Sanders at Colorado, which is just such an interesting test case, Quinn Ewers at Texas, Jackson Dart at Ole Miss, listed 4th, Cameron Ward at Miami. That is the transfer that you're pretty aware with for Ole Miss back in the day.
Yep.
They considered and went to Washington State, and now with the Hurricanes. Jalen Milroe, obviously at Alabama. Riley Leonard at Notre Dame, headed over from Duke for his season with the Fighting Irish. And then best of the rest, they have listed Drew Aller, who must be better than we saw him because he was awful against Ole Miss that day.
He was.
I mean, he was bad. Max Brosmer at Minnesota, I don't think I've ever heard of him, if I'm honest. I don't think that. Sorry, he enters his first season at the FBS level after the past 5 at New Hampshire.
Ah, well, there you go.
And he's the 9th best quarterback in the country.
It's hard to find good quarterbacks.
It's almost like a tough job to do.
We've had this conversation a few times.
There aren't a lot of – it's not a skill set most people have in spades. Jalen Daniels at Kansas, good college quarterback.
Yeah, solid.
Good college quarterback. Noah Fafita at Arizona.
Sure.
He's the reigning Pac-12 Offensive Freshman of the Year.
Good for him. He'll be the last Pac-12 freshman of the year.
Well, the Mountain West probably becomes the Pac-12, and then
Yeah, maybe so.
I mean, Oregon State and Washington State have the rights to the conference, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that correct?
Yeah,
They can do whatever
the
they want to do
title
with
and
it.
stuff. Yeah, they can add whatever.
Don't you give a trophy if you're them to the winner of the game this year?
I would steer into it and have some fun with it.
Pac-12 champions.
Yep. They won't, but they should.
Our boy, he's been at multiple SEC schools in the past. We've talked about this cat for a while, like the 10th best quarterback in the country, TJ Finley at Western Kentucky.
Is he still playing?
He was at LSU and Auburn now and Texas State, and now he's at Western Kentucky. He's at his fourth school.
I mean, good for him. See the country.
See the country. He was at LSU in 2020, Auburn in 21-22, Texas State in 23, and now at Western Kentucky.
Wow.
6'7", 255.
If you had told him back in 2020, you'll finish your career playing at Western Kentucky, would have taken some mental gymnastics to get there.
A lot. Dylan Gabriel, Oregon. Will Howard, Oregon, Ohio State. Coming in from Kansas State, that transfer.
He's good.
KJ Jefferson, UCF. Going to play for Gus in his final year.
Going to have to get in better shape than he was a year ago.
Yeah. That profile fits, though.
He played heavy last year. Yeah, he'll could potentially be very good in that offense.
Garrett Nussmeier, LSU. I'm as interested in a player as I am anybody else in the SEC.
I'm not willing to write them off the way other people are. I'm just not. There's talent on that roster. I'm not saying they're going to win the SEC. I don't think they're going to. I think there are 4, 5, maybe 6 teams better than them, but I'm not going to write them off the way I've heard other people do.
Donovan Smith at Houston. He's a transfer from Texas Tech.
Mm-hmm.
DJ Ugalele at Florida State.
Florida State.
He's the starting quarterback at Florida State. After Clemson and Oregon State. Now
We'll
at Florida
make
State.
The Clemson-Florida State game interesting.
It will. Connor Wegman, Texas A&M.
Yeah, he's good. He's a good
quarterback.
He's a good quarterback.
Underrated quarterback.
He was good that day.
I'm not ready to write off the Aggies either.
Same.
The SEC has this really interesting second group.
Yeah.
That is, like, I'm kind of putting Ole Miss and Georgia and Texas up here and Missouri. Even. I'm going to move them up here.
Alabama.
And Alabama.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm with you. 5.
And then this next group.
Tennessee,
LSU, and A&M.
And
I think Oklahoma's schedule is just too hard. I would typically put Oklahoma here.
Their roster's pretty good.
It is. But that schedule.
It is.
They did Texas favors. They did Oklahoma no favors. That Oklahoma schedule
probably a sign of things to come.
Sucks.
Probably a sign of
things. You know, Oklahoma looked at it and went, of course, Texas.
Yeah. See?
Different neighborhoods, same shit. Like, you know, blah, 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 blah,
But
blah.
Oklahoma's one of those teams that's talented enough to beat the good teams on a given day.
Sure, but getting them to 10-2.
Hard. Agreed.
Like Oklahoma's schedule here. Temple, Houston, Tulane, which they keep struggling with. Quit playing the green wave because they keep messing with you.
Just play Tulsa, for God's sake.
Yeah, Tulane. And then from there, their SEC slate. Tennessee, Auburn, Texas, South Carolina, Ole Miss, Missouri, Alabama, LSU.
Jeez. That's tough sledding.
I can't get them there.
No.
Because they're just...
No, you're not going to get it. And they're not going to get there.
I mean, they have road games in Oxford, Baton Rouge, Columbia, Missouri, and then the Dallas game and Auburn. Like,
yeah.
No. Just no. Now, Texas is doing things, and they're going to win the game. So, actually, it's going to really pay off for them. But they're kind of doing this to themselves. They play Michigan in week 2 in a non-con. But they're going to win the game.
Yeah.
It's in Ann Arbor.
Texas is really good. It's all there.
Yeah, whereas Texas's schedule, Mississippi State, Oklahoma, Georgia, Vanderbilt, Florida, Arkansas, Kentucky, Texas A&M. No Ole Miss, no Alabama, no LSU.
Oh, they got done right.
No Missouri.
Hook 'em.
No Tennessee.
Like I said.
What the hell?
I mean.
Come on.
I'm sure the SEC would love for Texas to be really good in year 1. I would if I were the SEC. I
In
would.
general,
If I'm in the room and you go, hey, you can kind of script this a little bit. Okay.
G-Man said, so that means the following year will be tough sledding, right? No, they kept the same schedules and flipped the home away next year. Now, I think they're going to go to 9 for next year. I think that schedule is going to be thrown out.
I do too.
I think that was strictly a placeholder to get us through to whatever's coming.
I agree.
But, yes, no, you've caked 2 years in a row.
And if you're Oklahoma, you're like, oh, so the year that would be our home game. Oh, okay, cool. Hook 'em. Bitches.
Yeah, it's some conference room. They went, we dealt with this shit for years in the other conferences, and now we're here, and you're doing this too. Poor guys. Does Ole Miss play Texas or Oklahoma in basketball at home this year? For some reason, I thought it was Oklahoma, but I don't know why.
For some reason, I thought it was Texas.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
I can pull it up.
It doesn't matter. I'm just curious. I don't know why I thought that, but let's see. Any quarterbacks to know? Brady Cook at Missouri. Interesting year for him. Kyle McCord at Syracuse. He left Ohio State to go to the Orange. Graham Mertz is still the starter at Florida, by the way. Cam Rising is still at Utah. Will Rogers is now at Washington.
Ole Miss's home basketball schedule is Auburn, Georgia, Kentucky, LSU, Mississippi State, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Texas, and Texas A&M.
Oh, so they get both.
Ole Miss will travel to Alabama, Arkansas, Auburn, Florida, LSU, Mississippi State, Missouri, South Carolina, and Vanderbilt.
So Texas and Oklahoma are only one time, and they're both at home.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's a pretty favorable schedule. I mean, in terms of for fans.
Is it?
You get Auburn here, Kentucky here. You get the state game, of course. Oklahoma's new. Tennessee's here. Texas is here. Texas A&M, it's a pretty good schedule.
That same article that's pointing out quarterbacks points out that 2 NFL teams they believe will take quarterbacks in the first round of the draft are the Giants and the Cowboys.
Yeah.
He says, I'm not advocating for the Cowboys to replace Dak Prescott, but keeping him long-term presents challenges. He's entering the final year of his contract, and the two sides don't appear to be close on an extension. Since they can't franchise Prescott, the Cowboys are left with 2 options: sign him to an expensive long-term deal or let him walk. So he believes they likely are letting him walk at the end of the year.
I would.
Yeah, that doesn't even seem like a crazy thing there at all. Charlie Baker said a lot of stuff, but honestly, I'm just ignoring that today. I feel like he's still avoiding the possibility that none of that actually gets approved.
Give Bjork credit for it, that national AD thing. He basically said that.
That everybody's jumping to too many conclusions here?
Yeah. You're assuming that there's no more further lawsuits. You're assuming that this settlement goes through. You're assuming a lot of things.
Did you see where the 83 Wolfpack are suing? See this?
Who are they suing?
Oh, for NIL and back pay on their rights. You not see this?
No, I did not.
Okay, hold on. You'll enjoy this. We'll get out in a minute.
And you say that knowing that I will not.
I'm going to let that marinate for a minute for Neal.
When they signed their scholarships in 78, 79, they knew what the deal was.
I'm not arguing. Just telling you what's happening.
All right.
I'll read it to you after the break. Northeast Spark, NESPARC, service people across rural communities, 2 packages, the Ignite, the 100 Mbps, or the Blaze. This is their fastest, their 1 gig option available to you. Your hometown team bringing you world-class broadband. That's nespark.com, 662-238-3159. Phone service, port controls, network security, wireless mesh extender, and more. Again, 662-238-3159 or nespark.com.
Southern Traditions Farm is a 68-acre, 32-stall upscale equestrian training and boarding facility in Canton, Mississippi. 2 sand rings, a grass ring, miles of wooded trails, a lot offered at Southern Traditions. Horseback riding offerings from beginner lessons to advanced to being able to compete in nationally recognized competitions. It's also a great venue for corporate outings, events, things of that nature. So get in touch with them on Facebook or Instagram at Southern Traditions Farm. I'll have a mailbag up tomorrow. It's brought to you by Art Hayes, Sotheby's International Realty. Are you thinking of making a move? Put the power of Sotheby's International Realty to work for you. As a licensed agent with Sotheby's and a supporter of all things Ole Miss, Art Hayes can help you buy or sell in your hometown or anywhere in the world, no charge to you. Seriously. So call and ask Art How, 612-805-5929, or email Art at arthur.hayes@lakesmn.com.
Answering a question from earlier, yes, Celtics Mavericks tomorrow night, 7:30 on Wednesday. That is Dallas, a 1.5-point favorite. The game starts on the game is on ABC again, 7:30 Central.
Dallas would be advised to win that game.
Both of them.
Yeah, but better win the third one, or else that thing's
night.
NBA goes, oh my God.
I think it's over anyway. I think it's in 5.
I got a feeling
they're just too good.
I got a feeling the ratings are not going to be great.
Well, I mean, I told you I was really pumped, and the game hasn't been competitive enough. I just don't finish it.
Just hasn't gotten a great buzz. The big long layoff hurt them.
And it's Boston, Dallas. You should get a buzz.
You should get a buzz. You got stars in the game.
No, the layoff was terrible.
Layoff hurt them.
Everybody kind of moved on.
People's attention span is so short. I mean, it's so short.
They need to play the next night. Hey, gotta get going here.
It's like I was listening to a political podcast yesterday, and they were talking about how the way that news cycles go now, the Democrats kind of hoping that the Trump conviction thing would help them. It's like it happened way too early. Because people forget about it by November. Yeah. Anyway.
Do you guys, I guess, tweet at me or answer in the stream wherever, when you listen to really long podcasts, do you finish them? Because I find myself, a lot of the podcasts that I listen to are 1.5 to 2.5 hour podcasts, but I'm running to them over multiple days. I'll literally just stop it, come back to it the next day, go to the next one, that kind of thing. And I guess they work because, like, I mean, the majority of the podcasts I listen to are on the Ringer Network. I listen to a lot of Bill Simmons, a lot of that stuff, and none of them are shorter than an hour and 20 minutes typically. And I mean, obviously they're doing that for a reason. They wouldn't do it if it didn't work. But we always talk about attention spans, and in some ways, it's just who Simmons is, and it's what he does. Because, you know, Grantland was his creation. He wanted really good writing that was longer and filled with, you know, anecdotes and that kind of thing. And he's kind of done that from a podcast standpoint too. And again, I guess it works, but I just find it somewhat fascinating that we always talk about shorter.
Yeah.
And yet everything they do is longer, if we're honest.
Well, like the Breaking Points podcast that I listen to, they've gone from doing these 2-hour shows to doing multiple 47-minute shows.
And I think that's monetary.
I do too.
I think that's trying to run engagement numbers up. Almost certain.
Yeah,
actually.
And it makes sense.
Yeah. Know enough to be dangerous on that I think that's the case there. So I don't know. I just find it somewhat interesting. I mean, I told Brian the other day, I think it was Brian, maybe it was the podcast I did with Robert Chapman. It wasn't talking to you. Simmons is a great test case of someone being able to stay relevant in culture and sports for now 3 decades. As he's gotten older, his mind hasn't gotten older. He still relates to the 20-year-old, the 30-year-old, the 40-year-old, the 50-year-old.
Yep.
Like it's a complicated, difficult thing to do. And he's done it so well.
It's very hard.
Yeah, like I know he's not the top of pop culture the way he probably was 10 years ago, but still got a fastball. And
he stays pretty involved with his at least one kid, right?
Yeah, and both kids.
Yeah. That helps.
Yeah. Yeah, very involved with both kids. And I mean, sure. I mean, it's, and I don't mean it like, I'm not saying he's unfulfilled or anything. I don't mean like that, but like, he incorporates a lot of his work things into his life. Like, you'll listen to his thing and he goes, hey, I had to watch this movie. His whole family sat down and watched it together. And he let his kids make fun of the fact of this movie from 1987 that was whatever he's having to watch for work and and that kind of thing. I think that's helpful too. As he's gotten bigger and his kids have gotten older, he incorporates them in everything. I mean, he did a podcast after the Celtics game the other day with his dad. They had gone to the Garden and watched the game, or whatever they call the Boston whatever now, and you know.
Yeah. I still call it the Garden, even though it's not the Garden.
Whatever.
But yeah.
10 players from North Carolina State's 1983 national championship basketball team have sued the NCAA and the Collegiate Licensing Company for using their names, image, and likenesses without their permission. Lawyers for the group of players, which includes Thurl Bailey, Alvin Battle, Walt Dinsmore, Tommy DiNardo, Terry Gannon, George McClain, Cozell McQueen, Walter Proctor, Harold Thompson, and Mike Warren, filed the suit in Wake County Superior Court on Monday. The group requested a trial by jury and is seeking, quote, reasonable compensation for the appropriation of the player's name, image, and likeness. The lawsuit argued the NCAA has continued to use images, videos, and names of members of the 83 team while promoting college basketball in the tournament without the former players' consent and without compensating them for it. The suit said the NIL use continues to generate revenue for the NCAA after athletes leave college, quote, but for the illegal, unethical, and unscrupulous conduct of the NCAA and its co-conspirators described above, plaintiffs would have been paid substantial sums for their use of NIL and the NCAA's advertisements and other promotional efforts. Therefore, substantial funds that the NCAA have received and continue to receive through the misappropriation of plaintiffs' name, image, and likenesses belong to the plaintiffs. An NCAA spokesperson did not immediately respond. Blah, 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 blah. Lorenzo Charles obviously died in 2011, and Wittenberg works for North Carolina State and is not listed as a plaintiff in the lawsuit. Anyway.
Peace out.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah. I mean, I get their frustration, but
that's the as far as I'm going.
When you played, was not
you don't
deal.
Get to go redo history in that way.
No. And
Bryce Drew doesn't get to make money every time they show Pacer on the TV.
And you have cashed in on it. You're played on one of the most famous teams in the history of the sport. I'm going to guess that you've gotten some gigs and things that you wouldn't have gotten otherwise. Hey, I played on the 1983 North Carolina State team. Oh.
Yeah, people are aware of the Cartier Pack. Like, we get it.
Nationally.
Yeah, you have no case.
No.
Now, look, the NCAA keeps losing court cases, so why the hell not? But this is stupid.
But if
this is frivolous.
If you can go back 40 years, then all the schools are going to be like, oh, that's it. Screw it. Done.
Well, yeah.
Like,
I signed a contract with you, but now, in 20 years, I would have made more money. So pay me that money now.
So Sinquez Golson, the picture of him making the interception, Ole Miss puts that out. It's at the stadium, right?
It's literally on one of the gates.
They put it on. Yeah, I think so. They probably on some of the highlights.
I think it's that one and the one of Deuce jumping over the top of the pile.
So can those guys go back and sue? Or did they cash in on that at the time?
Yeah.
Because if that's the case, then everyone's going to go back and sue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everyone would have an argument in some way. That's why this is just stupid. So there's that.
It's really stupid.
Not a fan of that one.
Do you see you following this trial? And I'm probably going to get his name wrong. I think he's a rapper.
The answer's no, but go ahead.
It's the trials in Georgia.
Okay.
I think it's like, someone help me in the stream. I think it's like Young Thug or something like that. Is his rap name.
Okay.
And it's a murder trial.
Okay.
And the judge held his attorney in contempt yesterday.
Okay.
Took him into custody because the defense attorney, without the jury present, confronted the judge about a the witness in question had been sworn in. Okay. So the witness is technically on the stand.
Okay. Done the whole Bible thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And the judge said, I'm sorry, the defense attorney told the judge that he had information that the judge and the prosecutor and this witness had a meeting in chambers where they negotiated testimony.
Including the judge?
Yes. Without the defense being present. And the judge was like, who told you that? And he's like, well, it doesn't, I can't tell you that. Well, you have 5 minutes to tell me. And he said, did it happen? He's basically, I'm paraphrasing. And the judge basically, if you listen to what he says, admits that it happened, but is so mad about how he knew that he took him into custody. Made him take off his suit jacket, his tie, the whole deal. It was wild.
Lawyer Brian Steele was held in contempt of court by Fulton County Judge Earl Glanville.
Yeah, Glanville. That's it.
Seeking to Jerry Glanville?
I don't think so.
Both Supreme Atlanta people. I mean, I'm just saying.
Could be.
overseeing the Trance Rapper's racketeering trial, which he refused to reveal his source that clued him into the supposed under-the-table talks between the judge, prosecutors, and key witnesses. I'm going to give you 5 minutes. If you don't tell me who it is, I'm going to put you in contempt. I don't need 5 minutes. He then motioned for a mistrial, which was denied. Yeah, no shit. Glanville then ordered the attorney to be escorted from the courtroom. Still removed, blah, blah, blah. He's allowed back in the courtroom an hour later. Allowed Steele to present while the court was in session, but warned him he would be taken back into custody if he did not reveal the source by the end of the day. 20 days consisting of every weekend for the next 10 weekends in jail. I have a feeling that's not going to hold up on appeal.
I mean, wow. Is that the rapper's name? Is it Young Thug?
Young Thug.
Young Thug.
The judge initially ordered Steele to report to the Rice Street jail, but agreed to Steele's request to serve his time in the Cobb County jail, where Young Thug is also housed, the AJC said. His law firm did not immediately return the comment. The witness that Steele allegedly had met secretly with the judge and prosecutor was Kevin Copeland, who spent the last weekend in jail after refusing to testify, despite there being an immunity deal that hinged on his cooperation.
And the rumor is that he admitted to be the one that did the killing.
Really?
Yeah.
And got immunity?
I don't know.
He's expected to return to the witness stand on Tuesday, so today.
Well, sign me up.
Is this on Court TV? How do we get this on Court TV?
We're about to find out. Now, I saw this on social media yesterday.
Hold on a minute.
I kept going back to it going, this is awesome.
There's no way that holds up in any capacity.
Well, I would hope not. I mean, that's kind of unconstitutional. You have a right to know.
Having a discussion without defense present is like 101 of the most unethical things you could possibly do.
You've been following many of the trials here lately, Chase. We're kind of in a weird place with our criminal justice system.
I'm amazed by this one.
It's wild.
I did it, but you shouldn't know about it. Shut up. You're going to jail.
Yeah. Who told you that? Did you do it? Who told you?
Hold on.
So you did do it.
Hold on.
Because if you didn't do it, just tell me you didn't do it. And he's like, well, I want to know who told you. This was proprietary information, he said. He goes, well, how is it proprietary?
So you were trying to do it and keep it from me.
Yeah, 100%. He kept saying it's ex parte or whatever. And he's like, but he's a sworn-in witness. Did the meeting happen? Who told you that you have 5 minutes? Made him stand up in court, take off his coat, his suit jacket, take off his tie, and you can tell the bailiff's like, I can't believe I'm doing this. This is like, what are we doing? It was wild.
I miss this.
It was, I mean, you're like, this is kangaroo court.
This is amazing.
I mean, the look on the bailiff's face is, and he comes up to him at one point to Steele, and Steele's still talking, and the judge is like getting up to leave, and Steele's still talking, and the bailiff tries to grab Steele's notes, and you hear Steele, it's off camera, but you hear Steele go, don't touch my notes.
Yeah, sure.
And it's like, man, this is
real. I mean, yeah.
This is crazy. Oh, I was riveted for like an hour.
No, I missed this. Yeah. Well, I'm all in later today. We're going to see what happened. Hey, did the guy testify? Did he? There's no way this cat's going to jail on Friday, right?
I mean, I would think not. I mean, the judge should really rethink the situation.
He probably went home last night and somebody in Georgia called him and said, hey, look.
Yeah. Like, I'm not sure Terry Gannon has a suit, but Brian Steele, on the other hand, he might have a suit.
Yeah. All right. 1 o'clock today, I believe, is the time for those game times. So, again, we'll hash those out tomorrow when we talk to you tomorrow morning. RebelGrove.com. In the meantime, Ole Miss at least 3 visitors of baseball portal-wise. I'll put those up here in the next hour or so. And then they're still trying to hire a pitching coach as well. So that information and more coming at RebelGrove.com. We'll just leave it there for now. Anyway, yeah. All right. Stay safe. We'll talk to you tomorrow.